Well, hello, this is Rochelle, and thank you for joining me here on the Class 25 of National Scrapbook Day 2022. At present, I am fighting COVID, so please excuse the voice, but I'm going to try and chat you through this process as best I can. I'm going to be doing a Faithdex pocket. So instead of a Memorydex card, I'm going to do a Faithdex card, just because I'm going to put some faith-filled things in there. And this little Faithdex box is from Room 5 GraphX. It comes with a stencil that has the template for the card sizes as well as the little cutouts. Now here, I want you to do as I say and not as I do. I should have left some space for myself to score because I wanted it to be a pocket. You can just do it with one page and then fold it over and make a pocket, but for this specific card, I love this paper so much that I wanted to use the whole lot of it. So the specific one is the C137008 Calm. And what I'm saying is to cut it at 12 centimeters and 11 centimeters. So that means that for the bottom and the two sides, you'll have an extra centimeter to score. So your card in total will be 10 by 10, but we need some scoring space. So a centimeter on each side and at the bottom will give you 12 by 11. Okay, so that's 12 wide by 11 high. Obviously, I'm going to be redoing this because there are some more mistakes that are coming. So do as I say, not as I do. So just scoring it and then cutting the corners to be able to fold it over nicely. And then you'll be repeating the exact same steps 1 to 3 with the C137004 on the bottom left. This one was on the bottom right of the dots, and the C137004 will be on the bottom left of that specific one. I do use a white gel pen because if you work quickly and you have a wet finger, you can just wipe it off fairly quickly. So repeating steps 1 to 3 in the right way, definitely 11 centimeters by 12 centimeters. You can then score a centimeter on each of both sides and the bottom, and you've got then 10 by 10 with folded what do you call it, borders, folded flaps, whatever. So I just use a ball tool, a steel ruler, and a one of those self-healing craft mats to score on. I know that you get very professional and very gorgeous scoreboards. I don't own one of those, so not using one at the moment. But here you'll see where my other mistake is. So let's redo this little card, for the first card again, scoring it at 12 at 1 centimeter on each side, because I've now cut it right at 12 and at 11. Cutting my little corners, folding it over where I scored it using a bone folder just to crease it nicely, and then wait for it. I'm going to add a border punch. Sheer genius. I punch it on the scored side. So guess what? Let's again do as I say and not as I do. And score it on the non-scored side, in other words the top of the card, to create a little border at the top. So effectively what this means is that I need to take that calm page 137 and redo again. Let's cut this out and score it and have it ready, all fixed. Thank goodness there is a redo button. Lots of craft room. Okay, next up I'm going to take some double-sided tape. I'm going to put it on the sides of these borders, and I am going to do it on just the one card. That should be fine. And I put it on the edge, you know, side to side, so that it is quite secure. And then what I do is I take the two sides and kind of fold it over just a little, which means that a little bit of the sticky side is exposed, so that I can then fit the top one over it without sticking it so firm that I can't fix it. So So once then I'm happy, I can pull out those flappies that I left out, and my card is secure and stuck. Next up, I'm using a clutch pencil just to draw out this kind of slots where that Faithdex card goes into my box. If you have a punch for this, I think it's a Heidi Swap Memory Dex punch. If you have a punch for that and you have a different system, then use that. If you just want to make this as a pocket in your diary, or a pocket in your Bible journaling, or a pocket in your layout for scrapbooking, that's also, I mean, 100% perfect. Then this step is not really required. I am using again my True Control craft knife, my favorite tool, because it really helps with my hands to have this True Control craft knife. It's very accurate and very stable, and just helps me out a lot. And so I'm using that to just punch out or cut out those little slots for my card. Next up, I'm going to be tearing the line drawing on C137001, and I'm going to be tearing the pieces that I want away towards me, so keeping the image flat and tearing away from the image so that it has this white kind of edge on it. I really like that white edge, the torn look of it. I'm controlling it by keeping my nails as close as possible to the lines that I want it to be, so that I don't tear away from the lines or tear the lines away, but then keep that white spot as tight as possible. I'm going to have to cut some of the image at the bottom off, which is not a train smash. It's going to work out just fine. And I'm just using my steel ruler and my craft knife to do that. Eyeball it. I didn't do it perfectly, I just eyeballed it. And then again, taking the pattern that is already in the Faithdex card and just cutting away those little slots so that it can slot into my system again. Okay, once that is done, I've got that ready. Clean up your craft space. And then I'm going to take the stencil, the grunge stencil, and it's D13701, and it's got this amazing kind of grunge look on it. I need to remind myself to write down what I use because I forget, so bear with me while I write. And then I'm using the Glamour paste by Stamperia. This is a gold paste, and it's got the most spectacular shimmer I've ever seen. So I'm using that paste, just mixing it up a bit. I haven't used it for a while, and putting it onto a old card, any old credit, gift card, whatever, and applying it through the stencil onto the Faithdex card. Oh goodness, sorry. I am going to quickly clean up everything, and then when it's dried, I can adhere my goodies to it. So now I have that beautiful pattern on the back that will stick out, and adding some flowers just using my Tombow Multiliquid glue. The flowers are on the cutouts of the Fussy cut sheets, which is C137009 and C137010. And it's got those gorgeous flowers that I've cut out, and sticking both of them just with normal Tombow liquid glue, multi-liquid glue, which apparently isn't so normal anymore. Anyways, using a butterfly, I'm just sticking the body of the butterfly onto that girl's shoulder, so that her wings still have a 3D flap effect, again using just multi-liquid glue. And then from this little sentiment card that comes from the sentiment sheets, I'm just wanting to use the word breathe, and so I draw around it with a black pen, and then cut around it, and I've got my word breathe. I'm using fun foam because I don't have double-sided foam tape, so just using fun foam and using glue on both sides, and then sticking that on so it's got a bit of a raised effect with the fun foam. And I'm doing the same with this next little sentiment card, and I'm cutting out the words unwind, relax, just breathe. Very funny. Funny because you understand what I'm saying. It's so true in this time. We really need to just breathe, relax, unwind. I love all of the sentiments on these cards because it's just really true. Getting onto the other side of my pocket, I'm doing the same thing, just stacking those flowers, and then I've cut out another one of the line drawings from one of the sentiment cards, and I'm going to be sticking that on top, but I'm going to be pushing that up with that same foam tape or fun foam again, kind of just cutting it out there, and then yeah, cutting it, and yes. Now I've left my ring light down on the table. No light, bad light. Sorry girls. Just using Tombow to stick down the foam onto my card, and then that pretty much is that and done. I do still want to add a little bit of or a butterfly or two. I'm popping it up on a little piece of the fun foam and also raising that, but just sticking the body so that the wings can still flap. And I really like these kind of 3D butterflies all over this floral arrangement, and then doing the same with the words on some of the sentiment cards that I did before, cutting out or to cut it out. The reason why I draw or scribble around it is so that it gives me loose lines. I always find it very hard to cut straight when there are words only, so it always looks wobbly, and now this is just kind of an excuse to make it look wobbly anyways. And I'm going to pop up these words as well, so that I can then just have a bit of dimension on that side as well, because the flowers are then flat onto it. And I want to pop up these words that says, and deepen into the present moment. By now, class number 25, you guys must be exhausted, and I really do want to encourage you to take a time to just breathe. I've pinched my fingers with these pliers, not self-care, but some of these cards I've got on this pack of paper, this collection by Fab Scraps, I've got some really good advice, just to take care of yourself and make sure that your mental health stays where it's supposed to be. You know, I found for me that keeping my mental health goes hand in hand with making sure that I'm staying connected to the source of good health, which is God. So on these little tags that I've cut out from the sentiments pages, I've just put an eyelet in them with my pliers, and then I am just going to cut out this little metal piece and add it to my pocket using some collage medium by Tim Holtz.